Okay, we also did a little bit of work with your putting as we got started. I know that the swing was the main focus, but we did get some work in on your putting, and we'll see kind of the improvement that we made with your putting. So, with putting, we need the ball to go much more accurate, direct distance and direction. I know in all shots it's distance and direction, but with putting, because we're closer to the hole, and the difference between 10 feet and 13 or 14 feet can be huge versus hitting a drive that's 240 yards versus 250 yards. We don't get much of a penalty with a big difference in our driving distance, but with putting, huge penalty if we don't have the right direction and distance. So if we take a look here, we're going to take a look at a few professional golfers. But first thing to notice is see how much the weight is on the left foot here. So he isn't leaning back on his right foot. About 60 to 70% of the weight starts on the left foot and stays there. So this left hip is bumped to the left and just stays there. So if we just watch his left hip, watch how still his weight, his body is, and how much the weight stays on his left foot. So see how he doesn't move his hips at all. That weight stays right on the left foot as he's putting. The other thing to notice is how little he has no movement in his wrists. So we're going to take a look. See how the wrists stay perfectly still? It's like they're in a cast on the way through. So that's just a couple things. And the last thing we'll take a look from this image here is how he keeps his head down after the ball's well gone. So it's gone for 2 seconds here. We're going to go ball's gone 1001, 1002. He still keeps his head down. Now, Jack Nicklaus, what we can take away from here is how much he's bent over from the waist. Remember, we talked about the shoulders turning on a plane that's perpendicular to the ground, so the hands can go straight back and straight through, and so the putter head can go straight back, straight through. So if we see Nicklaus, his spine here, and then it tilts. Of course, we have a curvature in the spine. So when his shoulders are meeting his spine is about parallel to the ground, almost past parallel to the ground, almost so his shoulders are turning on a plane that's perpendicular to the ground, which allows his hands to go straight back, straight through. Now, even when that was when he was younger in his 20s. Now, as he's older, he still knows that rule, and so he's bent over from the waist, and he rounds his shoulders here at the top, so his spine, where the shoulders are connected to his spine, is perpendicular to the ground, and so his hands can go straight back, straight through, and then the putter head can go straight back, straight through. Now, there was a famous golfer, Michelle Wie. She did this. What she tried to do is what's called a tabletop. So she would try to almost make a 90-degree angle with her body. But the problem is we don't need to do, it's a lot of stress on the back. We don't need to do that. We can stand a little bit taller and just round the shoulders. But what she was shooting for is this kind of setup where her shoulders were turning on a plane that's perpendicular to the ground. She had some success with it, but it's really tough on the back. So if we take a look at this golfer, now let's take a look at your before stroke. We're going to see how your weight's back here on your right foot. We're going to see some kind of a little bit too much movement in the hands here. So we see those wrists move. So we're gonna the reason that makes it tough is because it makes it very difficult if we're not just putting with, now we've got a power source here, we've got a power source with the shoulders and the arms, too many power sources. We just want this to be a perfectly still triangle and then putt with the shoulders. So if we take a look here and watch how her right shoulder stays back as she comes through. So she's just going to putt with her shoulders. Her eyes are going to stay down, but watch how this right shoulder stays back. So as she putts, see how the right shoulder stays back. We're also going to see the same thing with this golfer. Watch her as she comes through. Watch how this right shoulder stays back and she comes through. So we're going to go through that a couple times so see how the right shoulder stays back and under. It turns back and kind of under the chin. She doesn't look up, so her right shoulder doesn't come out and around. But here we have the head looking up, and then that brings that right shoulder out and around. And when you have so many moving parts, it's hard to get good distance control. And so this putt goes, maybe 8 feet past. Then this putt goes another maybe 3 feet past. So we're going to make some huge improvement here. And I'll show you, we're going to go, here's your before. And then after, we also see how you're standing up upright here, and your shoulder, this part of your spine, we don't have you bent over enough to get your spine parallel to the ground at this point up here, so your shoulders can turn on a plane that's perpendicular to the ground. So we're going to change this, but what happens is when you're standing up this tall, your hands and your putters are swinging around you. So we can see this, if we take a look, we can see this putter opening a little bit in the backstroke, and then it closes a lot in the through stroke. A lot of that was actually because you were lined up a little bit to the right. So you're trying to pull this ball to the left. So if we take a look here, you're actually kind of lined up here to the right, and you're trying to pull the ball to the left. So part of this was actually because your alignment. So you'd really kind of try to close this putter face as you'd come through. And then also we want to make sure that we leave this putter out here. So watch how she comes through. She's going to hold her finish here. So she's going to putt. See how she just holds this putter out there? She's going to hold the putter out here. So hold the finish. Same thing here. Hold the finish. If we take a look, Jordan Spieth, again, watch his finish here. He's going to hold the finish. So back and then hold the finish out there. He holds the hands out in front of him. Same thing here with Tiger. Keeps the head down and holds the finish. Doesn't kind of recoil after the ball's gone, just holds the putter out there. Okay, so we're going to do, and see how it keeps the head down for a good 2 seconds after the ball's gone. We're going to see again, kind of holding your posture at the end. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of the improvement that we made. So one of the first things we do is we get you a good setup. I've got your left hip bumped to the left. We've got about 70% of the weight starts on the left foot and just stays there. Now here, I'm trying to get rid of any hand movement, or this right hand pushing. We're going to keep this alignment stick off of your left oblique, or off of your left lat. We're going to keep this alignment stick off your left side as you come through. So watch, as you come through, I'm going to pull this alignment stick off your left side. So see how I pull it off your left side? And what we're trying to do is to keep your hands from pushing. Don't let it hit your left side. So that's one of the things, is we're trying to see how it keeps your hands very solid coming through. So that's one of the things we're trying to do here is no hand action. There you go. That's it. You're keeping that. There you go. Keeping that alignment stick off your left side. Now, of all the things you're thinking about, that I think sometimes this hits your left side, but we're on the right track. We're gonna, at the end, we're gonna have this top part of the putter touch the inside of your left forearm, and that's gonna make sure that you don't push with your left hand. We're trying to keep this bend back in your right wrist. We're trying to keep this right wrist in extension as you come through. Also, we have about a 10-foot putt here, and your backstroke for a 10-foot putt is about 5 or 6 inches. So much better consistency and distance control when you're not using your hands here. So here we're going to take compare your before to your after. So here, let's take your before setup. Here's your weight on your back foot. You're going to use a lot of wrist here. So here's your before technique, and we can see that right hand push. We have a lot of kind of inconsistency with distance. Now we've got your left hip bumped to the left, a little bit more bent over from the waist. We've got your hands slid down on the putter here. So your hands are about just over your kneecaps, not even with your kneecap, just over your kneecap. We want your hands down this low so you can bend over that much from the waist. And then now we have a much better after technique. So if we just watch this technique here, and now we're going to take a look at how your technique now looks very similar. And now let's take a look at yours over here. You probably could use a little bit more weight on the left foot, but that's okay. But your body stays very still. And remember, I'm holding up 1 or 2 fingers here to make sure your head stays down. But from here, much improved technique from before to after. Your hands stay still. Maybe a little bit of push in that right hand, but much better with your technique. Good work, and we'll keep improving.